Commissioner Baidoon. Present.
Present.
Commissioner Kinlock.
Present. The next item on the agenda,
Item B, Chairman's remarks.
I have no comments at this time or remarks at this time. Next item on the agenda.
Item C, approval of the October 20th, 2022 meeting minutes.
Since we do not have a quorum present, we will now move to the next item on the agenda. If we do not have a presence during this, a quorum during this meeting, that item will be moved to the next meeting.
Item D1, under new business, an update from James Heath, Carter Fisher, Jay Shander, Bill Rath, and Victoria Ennis Edwards regarding the status of the criminal justice complex.
Mr. Heath.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chairman. Next time we have this meeting, I have a phone booth that we can reserve. So thank you for the opportunity to come speak with you again, especially as we near the end of the year. Not a whole lot to update you on, but I do want to kind of give you just an idea of kind of where we are headed right now. At your next full board, hopefully there'll be several contracts which are going to be in front of you, which will dramatically aid us in our transition, which is, as you know, Mr. Chairman, is really where the action is right now with respect to CJC. One of the most important contracts that is in with Commission right now, I know your staff is reviewing it, and my hope is that we'll be able to act on it at your next full board. I believe on the 15th is for moving services. And that's with a company we have been negotiating with, Oneida, and they will be working very, very closely with all of our end users to make sure that we are able to move all that needs to go from point A to the eventual destination with the CJC. And so be on the lookout for that. And I know Commission staff has had some questions. I believe we've answered all of them, but if anything else comes up, we'd be happy to engage. So we look forward with you reviewing that agreement in time for next full board. There are also other agreements relative to video visitation, which we are still plowing through, which I know is an issue which is of great concern to members of this committee as well as the Commission as a whole. What I can tell you as a preview, and I think I may have mentioned this before, is that we are really trying to change the funding model for services for inmates with respect to visitation, lowering the cost as much as possible. And I think as you get the particulars of the agreement, you will see that we really are going to be at the forefront nationally in terms of low cost for inmates for the sort of entertainment, books and music and all of those sorts of services and communication with loved ones on the outside for inmates, in part because that's, I think, the right thing to do, but also very, very practically because our CJC, as you know, is designed for remote visits, and we don't have the capacity for the same in-person visits that we have. And that is not unique to our Wayne County facility, but really is where criminal justice is moving. And so we want to be at the tip of the spear for that. And so you'll be able to review that as it comes along. As you know, we are working with the city of Detroit on two issues relative to the surrounding area of the CJC. The first is with DDOT. And so I appreciate your leadership and your assistance in helping us along those lines. There are a number of additional bus stops and the associated coverings that go with those that we're going to need in order to service the CJC that is in line with our overall parking strategy. And so I think after the new year, especially, we're going to see a lot of movement. The city of Detroit does that well. They do, as you know, periodic reviews for DDOT and public transportation. And so we've put on their radar the specific needs we have with respect to the CJC. The other issue relates to the sidewalk, streetscapes, and lighting in the areas surrounding the CJC. The buildings department has taken the leadership in identifying areas where we really need to improve the quality of the streets and sidewalks so that the employees, visitors, and everyone who is visiting the facility will have, pardon the pun, but a smoother walk in and around the new facility. And so that is also on a parallel track in terms of our discussions with the city of Detroit. And so as more happens on that, and I do, just as a heads up for you, while they're kind of on parallel tracks right now, I think as we move towards the end of the first quarter of next year, those issues are probably going to be joined. And so in addition to the heavy lifting we've asked you to take on, we're going to add to your portfolio a little bit with that. And so I appreciate in advance your willingness to work with us on that. Two points before I get to my colleagues here. You asked about education footprint, physical layout in the JDF. We do have some preliminary information that I'm going to ask Carter Fisher to share with you along those lines, as well as an update on some of the demolition progress that's being made in and around Lincoln Hall. There have been a lot of development, so a lot of discussion over the last several weeks on that. And so either Carter or Michael or Daryl want to add to that, I'll let them do that. Very happy to have Victoria back with us. She's been working, doing triple duty these last several weeks and months, and I appreciate all that she's doing with respect to our contracting and as well as our inclusion numbers, and she continues to do a great job. And I don't know, Victoria, do you have an update at all? Or okay, and so she may address that as well. But before I step away, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to address anything that you might have.
Ezra, I know we've been talking over the past couple of meetings regarding some outstanding costs associated with the completion, and there were some ongoing negotiations with Bedrock. I'm not sure if you implied that one of the members of your team would address that, or are you able to give us some sort of update, and when would you see some sort of final decision being made as it relates to those outstanding costs associated with the issues you mentioned earlier?
So I think probably you'll see a lot of movement after we get back from the holidays on that. One of the things, there will be some additional change orders that have not been finalized that will end up being presented to the commission depending on the pricing involved. I appreciate commission staff, specifically commission counsel, in working with us to get the first reading for the amendment to the procurement ordinance, which would allow us to move forward with some of those changes. One of the things that we have been discussing, and you and I have talked about it, is environmental issues and discussions related to that. I will tell you that we specifically related to our offsite parking lots, we have engaged a contractor, NTH Consultants, to help us with vetting and reviewing some of the presentations we've gotten from Bedrock with respect to exactly what environmental concerns are there and what level of remediation is in the best interest of the county. And so we've made some progress there. Those negotiations are still ongoing. And I would anticipate probably at our first meeting after the new year, we'll be able to have some hard numbers for you.
Okay. So with regard to change orders, it does indicate what funding source will be, those costs will be tied to.
Yes.
So in other words, because of this unique relationship, I believe that certain costs were supposed to be borne by Bedrock. So it will be a clear understanding that where these costs are coming from, whether or not they're coming from the county coffers or whether or not they're coming from this arrangement?
So 100%. So when I say change order, that presupposes a county cost. And so if we, for instance, we're in discussions with Bedrock about a change to design or something that is a practical change
Okay.
in this construction. If it's Bedrock's responsibility, that's a fight that I won't say a fight, but those are discussions that we have. They, as you can imagine, sometimes they have different opinions than we
So
do.
when they agree to cover a cost, that doesn't even reach us?
That doesn't even reach.
Okay.
That
Okay.
doesn't even reach you.
Thank you for that
So
clarity.
when I say change order, I'm saying, Commission, we
Right.
have determined that there is a change in design, change in construction, and that the county is going to bear all or a portion of that. Sometimes there are issues and
But whatever our portion is, you're bringing it for our action.
absolutely,
Okay, I get it.
100%. And that's the point of the procurement amendment that you are in the process of considering to give us a mechanism to have you consider that in an expedited fashion. So all of those changes come to the commission in some form or fashion for approval. Sometimes there are instances in which there is a negotiation or a compromise with ROC relative to a change. And we will, split the difference in some instances or something along those lines. But once again, that's always something that commission will be made aware of in those instances.
Okay, thank you. So who's next up from your team? Oh, no, hold it. Any other questions? I'm sorry. You have a question? Yes.
Good afternoon, Carter Fisher with Wayne County Corporation Council. Just wanted to add a few updates on questions that had been asked at the last meeting that we had on this topic. First, we were asked to look at education spaces, particularly in the JDF, and how much space we've allotted to different educational activities. So I can tell you we have 9 classrooms in the JDF. There are classrooms on each floor of the building, 2 additional arts and crafts rooms, and then 1 library for the facility. All in all, it totals about 6,500 square feet. And so we're quite confident that we have sufficient space for classrooms and that we're going to meet all the state requirements for educational programming, just as we do it in our current facilities. But we've definitely got expanded and quite sufficient space for classrooms in the new building. Second, just to talk a little bit more about the environmental aspects of the project, Lot B is where we're really focused on right now. That's our north offsite lot, parking lot. They had discovered some underground chemicals and contaminants prior to now, and then just last month they discovered a small underground storage tank that has since been removed and remediated. They're testing the soil around it currently just to see if there's anything else that needs to be taken out of the ground there. But the initial indication that we got from Bart Mell and SME is that they think that to the extent that there's going to be remediation there, it's minimal. As James mentioned, we've contracted with NTH, a separate environmental firm, to come and do due diligence for the county at this lot. Earlier this week, we held a walkthrough with them. So they've been on site, they've seen the designs and the remediation plan that's been presented to them by Bedrock. I think they've been pretty satisfied thus far with what they've seen. Bedrock has some very professional and sort of highly qualified environmental professionals of their own on site already. And NTH confirmed, at least preliminarily, that they like what's going on there. They're going to continue to monitor all the environmental work being done. And they're also going to issue a plan to our buildings division in terms of what maintenance needs to be done on this lot going forward to make sure that we're not causing any environmental concerns ourselves. So we're really looking forward to that. And our cooperation with them so far has been very fruitful. Lastly, you asked a little bit about schedule last time. There has not really been an update to the schedule. there have not been any changes. We believe that the project will be substantially completed in March of next year. And then that will lead into about a month-long period where we're completing punch list work, and we're touring the site further to see sort of what the final building looks like ahead of final completion. And then we'll have over the summer move in. But as James mentioned, we're contracting now with a move company that will help us finalize that move in schedule and also ascertain what exactly needs to be moved from our current buildings versus what we'll be getting rid of and what we'll be getting new items of. So I think those were all the updates from questions that we had last time. But if there's any further questions or follow-ups this time.
Any additional questions? Okay, thank you. Okay. Welcome back.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon. Victoria Ennis Edwards, Director of Wayne County's Human Relations Business Inclusion Division. Want to give you slightly small updates, but they're good small, so we're going to take them. We have increased our overall number from 56% to 58% Wayne County participation on the project. So 58% of the total spend for this project is being spent with Wayne County businesses. So that's something we should be very, very proud of. I want to talk about a small victory, but again, as I said, the smalls are very impactful. Swint Logistics is a small women county-based minority-owned company. I started working with the owner, Sherry Harris, about 3.5, 4 years tops. Literally a small business trying to grow. She has come to multiple workshops. She has every certification. We have what we called our small business workshop, Ready, Willing, and Able, that I do once a year. And we literally take the businesses through each step. Are you at the ground floor of just starting your business? Do you have your EIN number? The next level, do you understand insurance and bonding? And then the third level, which is, again, ready, are you willing? But then are you able? Are you insured? Are you ready to meet with the big prime? She was able to each year step up to the point that I am proud to say she was able to function as a prime for one of the FF&E bids. And she provided the gun lockers and the installation. And it was over a $500,000 contract. So if you look at a small business, over a 3-year period, going from very small to being able to grow yourself, to be able to operate as a prime, that's huge. And those are the types of things that we're trying to make sure we see these opportunities into all of the procurements that the county can do. So having these inclusion goals, having the project goals and monitoring and working and all the support with all the supportive services, this is the byproduct of it. So very glad to see that. You will see not reflected in the October because you know we're almost reporting a month behind, but coming up in the subcontracting, you're also going to be able to see under FF&E another company, Marks Moda, for furniture, another county-based women-owned business. So every opportunity that we have to be able to share these opportunities and recycle these dollars in our community, Wayne County, then with our women and our minority-owned businesses, it's been wonderful to be able to peel the layers back and break it down into smaller parts to make sure it's not just up here at the primes, but coming down to the subcontractors in each level. So a lot of them, when they get in, they then bring other contractors with them. So I'm very proud to say that you can see the opportunity. Now, is it a rainbow for everyone? No. But when you really look at what's happening in Southeast Michigan, Midtown, downtown, and all the projects, to be able to say that you're at 58% spend within Wayne County businesses, and then you look at the totality of women and minority-owned businesses, we're a little bit over 8%. When you look at how big this project is, 8% of about 700 million, that's a lot of money. So understanding really what the numbers mean. If somebody says, oh, it's only 6% women-owned business, well, 6% of what? So understanding that we are doing a good job and that we are seeing success stories. And so as we peel back those layers, we look for every nugget For example, working with the city of Detroit, we have softscapes, that's your flowers and your lawns. We have hardscapes, your sidewalks, your curb cuts. As we expand the footprint, whether it be parking lot or having to move something, we look for every opportunity. So one of the opportunities we have our eyes on is a possibility for more sidewalk work, which would be more hardscapes. That provides us another opportunity to then recruit, look for, and try to work with some of our small vendors. So again, just because the big stuff has already been let, until that building is open, we still have FF&E opportunities. And then once it's open, I think we've done a concerted effort to look within ourselves, where can we then continue the opportunities once the box is built as we procure? So understanding our stats, and we are at, I'm pretty sure it's 33% for workforce. And yes, that's under the 51% goal. However, as I've stated before, Hudson's, CJC, and all the other projects, there's no way you can do 51-51 and come up with 51% possibility for our workforce. So if we have 51% on the Hudson's building and 51 on CJC, just those two alone, you're already at 102%. So looking that we're trending at between 33 and 35% of the total workforce being Wayne County on the project, you're still at a very high number, because you also have to look at what workforce is available to participate on these projects. So just an update, it's not always roses, but when we get some wins, we're really proud and excited about those wins. Are there any other questions?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for your monthly updates and even the updates that we receive in between meetings, because you and your reports, through your reports, that basically clear up the lenses for us and bring a lot of what we're doing into perspective as far as how Wayne County businesses and residents are being able to participate and benefit from this development. So I appreciate the work you're doing. Also, once again, extend my condolences and look forward to continuing to hear further updates. Thank you. Any questions?
I also would like to thank her for all of her efforts, and it's, I think, made the whole project better for the county, and to hopefully spread some of that work around and supplies around. And thank you for your dedication. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Any additional reports from, we're finished, okay. Well, with that, thank you and your team for all of the work that you do. And so just talking to clerk, so December, for the record, we will probably not be meeting in the month of December. If, Vice Chair, if you don't have a problem with that, are you dying to meet in December? Commissioner Anderson? You should, no, I said we were not going to meet in December unless you're dying to meet in December. Okay, thank you. Okay, so the minutes will be moved to the January meeting for consideration. And so the next item on the agenda?
Item E, such other matters as may be properly submitted before the committee.
I know of none. Next item on the agenda?
Item F, public comments. And for the record, Commissioner Baidoon has requested to be excused.
Okay, thank you. And we will now, I will ask, is there anyone on Zoom who would like to address this committee? Anyone on Zoom? Anyone on Zoom? I would also like to ask, is there anyone present at this meeting who would like to address the committee? There being none, we'll now go to the next item on the agenda.
Also, no emails were
Oh,
received.
thank you, that part there, dang. Okay, no emails, okay.
Item G, adjournment.
Okay, without objection, the meeting stands adjourned.